Hello, everybody. Welcome to Charles SMP News Network. Today, we are joined by the famous Luke Protestant. Now,
Hello.
Luke Protestant, would you mind introducing yourself?
I am Luke Prod. I am the leader of Lopad. Factions existed for a while. We are currently engaged in a very large war with the Alliance for Free Spawn.
Okay, so I guess I'll start from the beginning. We haven't been able to cover much of the war so far on the news network, so I guess I'll start all the way back at the very beginning.
Okay.
So there have been a lot of different people going over and talking about what drove everybody to war. Fred, please be quiet. What drove people to war? I really want to know, from your perspective, on stream, on recording right now, live. What made you want to do? What drove you to declare war on the Alliance for Free Spawn?
I did everything.
Well, I'll start with the fact that declaring war was not my original intention. As you know, we were told about Spawn opening up in a couple weeks, and we all made our little plans to go and get Spawn. We were under the impression that Charles SMP might want Spawn for itself, so if we didn't want
to do from the start.
So if we didn't want Charles SMP to just drastically outpace us, we had to get Spawn first.
I reopened the whole Mephisto.
Fred.
Right. So that's where we started making some plans, but nothing was serious. And then I talked with you a bit, and you told me that Wilkie didn't even care about Spawn. So at that point, I thought that this wasn't going to happen. And so time went on, and the hunt for Fred began after he killed me. And of course, we found him at Port Charles. He had the boats. He had the map of Lopad Island.
Do you see a recurring theme here, people? And
I asked Wilkie about it, and I said, "Can we get our boats back?" He said, "I don't know." Then earlier that day, there was a boat Putmero made at Port Lopad that was crashed into his fort, and Danny testified that he had seen what would be AFFS members present there that could have done this. So there were all these things happening, and I wasn't sure what to make of it.
I thought the post, the crash at Port Lopad was after war had already been declared.
No, it was before.
Okay.
I mentioned it in my declaration. Okay. But yeah, so all these things, I didn't know what to make of this. So I came up with the idea that we should send Xavier in as a spy, just to have some idea of what was going on, because
Xavier was my counter-spy.
We weren't getting any information from the AFFS, or Charles SMP leadership. No information, radio silence. So I sent somebody in. Of course, everybody knows what was leaked, and at that point, I feared that there was this big alliance that was moving all of Lopad's former enemies, or moving.
There wasn't. It was all me.
Oh my God, Fred, stop!
To take several of our cities, and there's been a lot of talk that maybe I shouldn't have declared war. Maybe I should have talked it out. But the real reason I pulled the trigger and declared war was not because of Spawn. It was because I read that they wanted to liberate Mephisto, Blacktopia, Spawn, Intia too, and that ended up coming true for their war designs. So that, in summary, is why I declared war. It was a lot of stuff happening, and then the final nail in the coffin when I figured out they wanted to take certain parts of Lopad.
Okay, and what was the general attitude when the war first started on your side?
Well, morale was very high, because at this point, Lopad had never lost a war. this season at least. And we were very confident. We had a lot of people. I think like 20 people showed up for the declaration. It was very cool, and we were all pretty excited.
And what do you think the general consensus is now?
Well, a lot of people are... Everybody more or less recognizes that we are not an ideal situation where we're at now. But, with that being said, I think the Lopad people that have stayed with us throughout, there's like 10 or 12 of them that are just dedicated to Lopad, that would never leave, that love us. They understand that this situation that we got ourselves into, that we can get ourselves out of it. And, yeah.
Okay, and where would you say that this during in the tones really changed? At what point? What event? And yes, Easton, you can.
During this war?
Yes.
Well, I'll put it this way. The Port Dankis battle was mainly a fluke by us. We just didn't have the time to prepare the way we wanted to. But if we had, it's my genuine belief that we would not have lost Port Dankis. The next battle was the Mephisto battle, which API cheated in. So that was void. But we had another one in which we lost. Again, we just had very, very little time to prepare for it, and I wasn't able to come myself. And, of course, it was a style and style battle. And then you have Fintia, another style and style. So, I think the turning point was the Port Dankis battle, where morale started to go downhill. But, what people don't realize, and something I really want to communicate to everyone, is that there have been 2 normal style battles in this entire war. One of them we have fought to a stalemate. The other we lost. For a couple, it was just mistakes on our part. Our big losses, the big massacres, have all been style and style battles. And people don't realize that. They just think we suck, or we don't know how to fight. But it's not true. It's just we don't do well at all with these style and style battles. And I really want people to understand that. And that's the reason we're losing, is not because Lopad suck. It's because these PvP skill gap is on their side. So whenever there's a style and style battle, it's more or less a massacre.
Yeah, there's less. It's just PvP in a style and style battle, pretty much.
Right.
Now, Easton Burton asks, Luke, what steps do you think you could have taken for the war to not start? Also, in battles, what other things do you think could have changed to win them?
This war could have been avoided. Well, I think
Luke,
I took
open your chat.
Fred, stop.
Okay. I took all the steps that I think, and I still think today, even in hindsight, I have no regret. I took every single step that anyone would have taken. I contacted Whale King. Dave contacted Whale King. I was asking around, asking about why our boats were stolen. I wanted to get confirmation that there was some kind of plot against us with a spy, and I got confirmation. So in my view, there was literally nothing in my position at that time that I could have done.
I will say that it almost feels like it was inevitable. I mean, with the spawn battle coming up, you guys had technically declared war prior to that. I feel like after that went down, it was going to get declared either way, no matter who won. So it was really just a matter of the right time. And I guess you guys thought that was the right time to do it. And for the second... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think a part of the inevitability of this war stems from just the hate that has been shown to Lopad, because the past few months we have gone to war with several factions and won, and as such there's just this resentment against us, this need for revenge, and it's finally expressed itself in the AFFS.
And this second question from him, are there any things you think you could have changed in, you've already mentioned the Port Dankis battle, but any of the other battles that could have really changed the outcome?
Well, there's always something that you can do, especially in hindsight. There's this, we could have just done, look, I can sit here and I can say 10 things that we could have done, but the reality is, we just, with this 1 week of battle thing, we didn't have a time to make a wall, to make all these defenses, to make armor, to do all this stuff necessary for battle in that time. So even if I would just go on and explain everything we could have done differently, it just would have been impossible to do that in the time frame we were given.
Now I have a question about, recently Mephisto, it was taken by the AFFS, but the members, the like official people who were still I don't know what you even call them anymore, Mephisto natives or whatever, Lemon basically,
yeah,
announced that he would be officially severing ties with Lopad, and he has pretty much joined the AFFS's cause unofficially. What do you think about that?
I view Drew the same as I do everybody else that is left of Lopad. He'll say it's because he wants Mephisto, but that in and of itself just shows and tells to everybody that he is a complete sellout, just like all these spies and all these people that have betrayed us. He is no different than any of them, even though he tries to pretend he is. And I'm saddened by all the betrayal, honestly, because I know there's at least someone that I really trust that is currently stabbing me in the back, and it's terrible, really. I don't know why they do the things they do, but I really think it's just an issue a lot of people on here have. They can't stand just a little bit of loss, and when they do experience it, they're ready to just drop all their principles, all their morals, all their commitments to just go to the winning side, basically.
Yeah. That's happened all throughout the history of the server, honestly. You can point to any conflict and show where that happened. It's a really, right. I think it's a negative thing, but this raises the question, what's your plan with these people after the war ends? Whether you win or lose.
You're not going to be let back in Lopad. I have a feeling that some have already asked, but they're not going to be back in Lopad. I don't think I can go after them if we lose, but they do deserve to be brought up for their crimes. I mean, to betray all these people that trusted them, that counted on them in our moment of need. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's stopping you from pursuing justice for these people?
Well, you don't want to make too many enemies at once. There's a lot on our plate right now.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just not add more to it.
What about the ones that have actively turned against you during the war?
During a battle?
No, just during the war in general. Like the ones that didn't just leave, but also just flat out betrayed you.
Those are the worst people. I'd like to go after them. I guess the sad thing is, half of them I don't even know who they are. And as soon as I figure out, I will do something about them, though.
And do you think that a single battle victory, just a battle that you could call just a flat-out victory, uncontested victory, do you think that would turn around the morale and possibly prolong the war effort?
I know it would. Definitely would. People would be much more excited because I promised to everybody that we've taken these 2 weeks. We really prepare. If we do every single thing that we say we're gonna do, I think the worst case scenario, genuinely, my sincere belief, I'm not just saying this, is that if we do every single thing we say we're gonna do, case scenario, next Saturday is a stalemate. I really do. And I think a lot of people, they're gonna see this, they're gonna see that what I said to them was true, that I wasn't just making things up for morale reasons. And I think they're gonna get real excited about the war again. People are very, they like to just see the situation that they're in. And not, I don't know, everything, and that could be, you know, so I think it'll help morale a lot. I think people just do complete 360s. I believe the people that betrayed us might try to come crawling back.
I saw today that Xavier was saying he was going to rejoin Lopad after the war. Will he be allowed back in?
Well, I don't know. We don't know the extent of Xavier's desertion. We don't know if he just fed information to the AFFS. We know at one point he really wanted to be a mercenary. Yeah. And I don't appreciate that at all. And what I'll say is, I can't give a definite answer right now, but I really do not appreciate that, and it will be a major factor in whatever decision I make, was that he tried to fight for the AFFS for money.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned that you think a lot of the people who betrayed you will try to return if morale flips, and you can get people excited again. You didn't mention. Are you going to let them rejoin?
Of course not. No.
Even if it bolsters. What if they agree to take some sort of punishment? I mean, it would help the war effort significantly. But
it would. That'd be a conversation me and the other high command would have to have, but they would have to. I would have to know that if the war turned around again and we started losing, that they would just not do the same thing again. I would have to be assured of that before I let them back in my view.
Let's say things go as planned for this next battle, and morale is bolstered, and you're able to actually get what you need to keep fighting. What's the end goal?
The end goal is to bring the war to a satisfying conclusion. I think many Lopads would view a satisfying conclusion to the war is with both Fintria and Blocktopia in Lopad. As for the other territories, I cannot speak on that, it definitely have to be a conversation we'd have to have, but I know that if we turn things around, we definitely want both Fintia and Blacktopia to stay with us, and so do their members that live there.
And what is there any? I don't know if you can answer this. Are there any plans to bring Fintia back in at this point?
The members of Fintia, I'll answer it this way. Members of Fintia, they want their city back, and they're ready to fight for it. I cannot speak to just battle strategy flat out, but if we turn things around, we definitely want Fintia back.
Yeah. And I mean, in a scenario where that's not possible, what are those people going to do?
Well, I had a conversation, I think 2 days ago, with both Arsonist and Heap Games. They both conveyed to me that losing their city but staying with Lopad, that's a very hard choice, because all of them really do like Lopad. The AFFS goes around saying we oppress them, but they really do like us and they want to stay with us. And I know that they'll make the right decision for them. However, it's my belief that in the event that both those cities are lost, it's my opinion that they'll stay with us, given the history that the AFFS is constantly skirmished Fintia, or that coalition members blew up Blocktopia, then had the audacity to come and criticize us for not having Blocktopia up to their standards yet. So, I think they'll remember that, and I think they'll make their decision based off of that.
And that brings up really my final question here. I know I said we'd start at the very beginning and work all the way to the end, and we're here now at present with these questions, and this is a big one. If things go just completely wrong next Saturday, how much longer are you going to fight?
I'll put it this way. This is how I see things. We have had 2 weeks of preparation, practically 3 weeks, because we've been working on Blocktopia for about 2 weeks now. Before the Fintia battle too, and we're gonna work on it and then another whole week.
Yeah.
On Blocktopia for 3 weeks. If we do all this stuff, we have the time to prepare as much as we can. If we do everything that we said we're gonna do, which I think we will, which I know we will, we have the time for it, we're right on track. If we do every single thing, and it just turns out disastrous, we'd really have to consider our options, but I do not think that will happen. That if we just employ every tactic in our book and do every single thing that I say we're gonna do, I do not think it's gonna go badly. Because that's just more or less unreasonable to assume if we do all that work, we set things up the way they should be. But if they do, which I don't think they will, but if, we'd really, really have to consider our options.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll wrap it up. Is there anything you want to say before we end this?
Well, I would like to speak on one thing.
Yeah.
The AFFS and their surrender terms, a lot of people will say, surrender now, especially Gandhi. He pings me every day, surrender. But they'll say all this stuff about surrendering, and I don't think that any of them understand what that would mean for me. It would be like, if we were winning the war, and I asked Charles Onia for Old Charles, for Viridia, for Odysseia, for Jamothea, it's basically half of everything they had, because that's what they're asking of us. And I know that they've worked months and months to build all of that. I know it's taken so long, especially since what happened to Charles Onia earlier this season, to get to the point they were. And that's exactly how I feel. I've grown Lopad so much, and it really feels like this group of factions just wants to take all that hard work away. And I feel like if they win, they will, in a very real sense. So I just want a lot of people that say surrender to understand that, to understand what that means, because I don't think anybody understands that. Just, I guess, Lopad. And I don't even think Dankus or our allies understand that. Just Lopad, because we're the ones living through it and experiencing it.
I understand, Luke.
And
He understands.
I guess
I understand.
I get it.
This does bring up one more question. And do you think Lopad will ever be able to recover, get back to the point that it was before, just at the point the war is right now? Even if it ended right now, do you think that it would ever be able to recover?
Definitely, 100% it would be.
And even if you guys lost entirely,
I just lost everything?
No, everything that they want.
Oh. It may really make things hard on us, but I know that Lopad has been around for nearly 4 years, and we've gone through a lot worse, and I know we'll be able to recover.
I think that it'll give opportunities to build new territories closer to where most of your main cities are already, like Alexandria, Lopad Island. I think it'll be beneficial to cluster your builds closer together instead of having stuff across the map take 10 minutes to travel there. You know.
Anyway, though, we are going to wrap it up now. So, thank you guys for watching and listening. Thank you, Prod, for coming on here. And goodbye.
Did I just